السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته، ومرحبا بكم مرة ثانية في سلسلة ايلتس with شيبان. أعتذر على هذا الانقطاع لنتيجة الظروف خاصة مرت بي، وإن شاء الله سنعود من جديد لهذه السلسلة التي إن شاء الله تكون فيها فائدة كثيرة للجميع. الفيديو اليوم راح يكون مخصص ل ايلتس Task 1 General Training اللي هو امتحان ايلتس الجنرال، وحنركز فيه على كيفية كتابة الرسائل، لأنه الجنرال ايلتس تاسك 1 اللي هو يركز على كتابة عدة أنواع من الرسائل، منها مثلا رسائل letters of complaint, letters of reference, letters of information, letters of recommendation. وهذه الأنواع الأربعة أو الخمسة التي سوف يتم شرحها إن شاء الله في الفيديو بشكل تفصيلي، لكن يجب الانتباه أنه تاسك 1 بالنسبة للجنرال تريننج حتى في طريقة التصحيح يختلف بشكل أو بآخر، يختلف بعدة نقاط معينة أو محددة عن تاسك 1 اللي هو الأكاديميك، وهذا اللي سيتم التركيز عليه، اللي هي النقاط الخمسة المطلوبة الإجابة عنها في كل تاسك 1. أي عند كتابة الرسالة هناك 5 نقاط يجب التركيز عليها. النقطة الأولى هي the purpose of the letter، الغرض من الرسالة، ثم حاجة اسمها the tone، النبرة أو نبرة الكلام، ثم 3 bullet points اللي هي 3 نقاط ستكون موجودة مذكورة في كل سؤال. هذه النقاط وكيفية التعامل معها وكيفية كتابة الرسائل حتكون هي عبارة عن درس، هذا أو الدرس المخصص تاسك 1 جنرال ايلتس، وأرجو أن تعم الفائدة في هذا الموضوع، وأتمنى أن تكون هذه السلسلة نافعة، وحتكون أيضا هناك تكملة لهذا الموضوع في حال وجود هناك أسئلة من قبلكم بالخصوص.
Hello everybody, and this is IELTS with Shayban. Today we are going to talk about planning a letter or a letter writing for Task 1 General Training. And in the General Training, we are going to deal with letter writing as it is mentioned in here. And if you look at the chart in here, we have the public band descriptors, and this is just a revision for Task 1 General IELTS. And as you can see here, if you look closer at the task achievement for band 6 and 7, if you look in here, so we have something called band 6, we have this GT. If you look in here, if you look at the GT general training in here, so he addresses all the requirements of the task, and for the general training presents a purpose that is generally clear. There may be inconsistencies in tone, and presents and adequately highlights key features, bullet points, but details may be irrelevant or inappropriate or sometimes even inaccurate. And band 7 and more, we need covers all the requirements of the task, and I'm going to talk about what are these requirements in detail. For the general training, presents a clear purpose, and we are going to focus what's the meaning of purpose and tone, and of course presents the highlights the key features. What does that mean? If you look at this question of IELTS, of course in this book I'm using the materials from a Cambridge book which is called New Insight into IELTS, and this is chapter 5, planning a letter. If you look at this graph in here, if you look at the question, of course in the real test we don't have any photos or whatever, but just a question. If you look here, we have a question here, a letter. It's about an old car was left on the street near your apartment block several weeks ago. You telephone the local council to get them to take it away, but nothing has been done about it. The car is now causing a problem for residents. Write a letter to the council. In your letter, describe the car, outline the problems it is causing, tell the council what you want them to do. Of course, this is one of the types of letter writing, which is a complaint letter. So you are going to complain about some issues. Here we have an old car, which is, as you can see here, of course. So in IELTS, in any question of general training, there are 5 points. There are 5 points, or let's say main issues you should focus on. Number one is here, which is called the purpose. What does it mean, the purpose? An old car was left on the street near your apartment block several weeks ago. So here, and you telephone the local council to get them to take it away, but nothing has been done about it. So the purpose here, there is a car which has been dumped in your, let's say, near where you live, and you are complaining concerning this, we say, issue. So what are you going to start with? To start with the letter, with the purpose. So you are going to say, dear sir, I'm writing concerning a problem or an issue that has happened in our neighborhood. So you are, we say, you are addressing the council, and you are going to show the purpose of your letter from the first line. So point number 1, point which is out of 5, which is you have to show me the purpose. And also you have to mention that you have telephoned the council. It is worth mentioning that I have called your office, we say some time ago, and unfortunately nothing has been done concerning this issue. So you have to show the purpose, and you have to use in your introduction, in your letter introduction, the information given in the introduction of the letter. Then we have other 3 points. If you look here, describe the car, outline the problem it is causing, and tell the council what you want them to do. So point number 1, you have to show the purpose. Point number 2, 3, and 4, they are mentioned as bullet points. But most importantly, and point number 5, which is the most important point in the whole thing, is called the tone. So as I said, there are 5 points which should be considered in IELTS Task 1. Number 1 comes here. Number 1 comes in the, we say, in the introduction, which is called the purpose. And the purpose, as I said here in the introduction, an old car has left. So here you are writing to the council, starting with dear sir or dear sirs. I'm writing concerning a problem that happened in our neighborhood several weeks ago, which is an old car that has been dumped or had been dumped several weeks ago. So here you show the purpose, and then you mention some of the information. It's worth mentioning, I have called your office to solve this problem, but unfortunately nothing has been done for this issue. So you have to show the purpose. Point number 2 is to describe the car. Number 2 is to, we say, outline the problems it is causing. And number 3, you have to tell the council what you want them to do. So as you can see here, it is what actually written here. So number 2, so we said number 1 is the purpose. Number 2, describe the car. Number 3, outline the problems. Number 4 is you have to tell the council what you want them to do for you. And point number 5, and most importantly, is called the tone. The tone is the way you should address the letter, or the way you should use when you talk to the, for example, when you write something to the, to the person you are writing the letter to. For example, here this is a complaint letter, and the tone should be, let's say, formal, and rather you are not satisfied, you are angry, rather angry, because nothing has been done to solve your problem. So in this way, your tone should be, as I said, formal, and you have to use certain expressions concerning this issue. We are going to have a table or list of words which are used in these circumstances. Now, let's go to the second question. Of course, this is the format you should use when you write. For example, if you are writing to a person, you should say the name of the person. And if you don't know the person, so you can start with dear sirs in here. And of course, you end up with yours faithfully. If you know the person, you can say dear Stanley or dear Ahmed, and then you can say finish with best regards or best wishes. Now, look at this kind of a question, and I want you to have a look on this question. And again, as you can see here, we have the introduction of the letter. Then we have 3 bullet points, and as I said, there should be, or you should cover 5 points, 5 elements while you are writing this kind of, let's say, general training letters. Number 1 is the purpose. So you are applying for a job and need a letter of reference from someone who knew you when you were at school. So the purpose of a letter, you applied for a job and you need a letter of reference from someone who knew you. Of course, this is called a reference letter. So this is, the purpose is a request. So you are requesting a reference letter from one of your, let's say, teachers, doctors, or supervisors where they taught you somewhere or some time ago. So number 1 here, so this is a request letter, and as you can see here, number 1, the purpose is request. Number 2, so the request you are applying, as I said, is in here. You are applying for a job, so you can going to say, for example, you say, dear Dr. Sami, I hope that you are well and in good health. So here again, you have to be polite, you have to be formal, because you are writing a letter to one of your teachers, former teachers in the past. So it's not a complaint letter like the one we had previously, but this one is a request letter. You are requesting for a reference for your new job. So here you have to show the purpose, which is a request letter. Then say what job you have applied for. So you are going to describe the job in detail. That means what kind of a job, why this job is important, explain why you want this job, what are you going to have when you have this job, and then suggest what information the teacher or the supervisor should include. And here you have to suggest some, let's say, some issues, for example, your level, your degrees, your participation, maybe your attendance, your problem-solving abilities, etc. And most importantly, as I said, point number 5, which is the tone. And here, the tone should be friendly, should be formal, should be very polite, because you are requesting. And again, as I said previously, we are going to have a list of all the points related to the tone. Now, okay, now we have, if you look at number 8, we have here several different ways of beginning a letter. And so this is how to introduce the topic. So if you look here, I'm writing with regard to, in concern with, I'm writing the hope that it was lovely to see you and your family last month. So you have here 8, we say 8 starters, and some of them are formal and some of them are informal. As I said, if you want to complain about something, if you want a reference letter, if you want to give some information, so you have to be formal. And if you are writing or inviting a friend, sending a request or giving some information for a friend or a group of friends, you have to be informal. And again, this is one, or this is we say this chart here can help you to select the appropriate language for that. Now we have another question, and I want you to read the question, have a look in here, and think a moment if you can give me the purpose. Can you see the purpose in here? Last year, you went on a camping tour with your family. A friend has contacted you about the tour and asked you whether you would recommend it. Write a letter to your friend about the trip. In your letter, say where you went and how you traveled. Describe the place and the accommodation. Suggest why he or she should go on this holiday. So, what do you think the purpose of this letter? Is it a request? Is it a complaint letter? Or this is just a recommendation letter? So as you can see here, it is a recommendation letter. So you are writing to a friend of yours, and this friend is asking your information, or you are giving some information to your friend about a place you have visited. Now, in the beginning, you have to start, let's say, dear Ahmed, dear Sami, dear, let's say, Susie. So it's a friend. So the language should be informal. And the purpose here, you have to greet your friend. You say, it's nice to write to you again. I'm really happy to write to you. It was really nice seeing you and the family last week. So just start with something very shows that you are very friendly. And again, the tone here, the tone, which is very important from the beginning to the end, should be informal, should be very friendly, and again, should be also polite. So you are going to talk about where you went and how you traveled. So you have to describe the place and the way of, or the transportation, we say types of transportations you used while you were traveling. And again, you have to give a full description about the place and the accommodation. So it's, let's say it's a safari park, for example. It's huge, it's wide, and it's, let's say, 200 acres of, let's say, a very nice area. And in South Africa, you can talk about the place. And accommodation, what is it? Is it a hotel? Is it a hostel? Is it a type of flats? So just describe them, and you have to suggest why he or she should go. So, for example, you can talk about the scenery, you can talk about the sightseeing, you can talk about the animals they can see, the adventure they can have with their family. So if you look in here, so we have some suggestions about the things that, for example, talk about, for example, the wildlife in the S, and for example, you can talk about the animals living in that, or you can talk about, for example, the place where you stayed, for example, cabin with the bunk beds, and of course you can talk about, as I said, you have transportations, you can say buses, trains, planes, whatever. Again, as I said, this is informal letter. It's about describing or recommending a place for a friend to visit. We have another question in here. And try to imagine the situation, the purpose, and the tone. You recently bought a camera while traveling overseas. When you got to your destination, you discovered that some important items were missing from the box. Write a letter to the local representative of the company. In your letter, give details of the camera and where you bought it. Explain what has happened and say what you want him or her to do about it. So what do you think the purpose in here? It's a purpose of, let's say, asking for some information or giving information about something in here. This is not a complaint letter. It's like because you bought something and you find something missing. Even if this is a complaint letter, but this is not like the first one we started, because the tone here is not, you are not very angry as in the first one, because maybe this something happened and the dealer or the salesperson doesn't know or didn't have any idea about what was missing. So something that happens when we buy things from companies, and this is something might be easily, dealt with. So here you have the show to the purpose. Then you have to give details as it's written here. So you have to show the details of the camera and where you bought it. Explain what has happened. So when you reach your destination, you found maybe the charger or the cable or the one of the, let's say, issues related to the camera were missing. Then what you want him or her to do about it. For example, you can ask for refunding, for example, or you can ask for maybe them to send you the missing piece. But again, as I said, the tone should be polite and formal. Okay. Now, we have here how to, let's say, to use the appropriate overall tone. So when you conclude, when you finish your letter, you should use one of these, actually, let's say, suitable, tone formats, which can help you to end up your, let's say, letter. You can say, thank you very much for your attention. I'm really looking forward to. I hope the situation will be resolved soon. Maybe this is good for the camera when something is missing. I hope the situation or this issue will be resolved soon. Bye for now. Talking to a friend or someone you know. See you at the weekend again. It's about a friend. Hope to hear from you again. Take care. I look forward to hearing from you, which is rather formal. Yeah. Now, for communicating, again, in chapter 6, here talks about the tone in particular. So what is the tone? The tone and level of formality that is used in General Training Task 1. And this tone should be consistent. Consistency is one of the most important issues to deal with when we write for General Training. Consistency means, for example, if you complain, so you should be formal and a bit angry or unsatisfied because you are complaining concerning something bad happened to you. So at the end of the letter, when you conclude, you don't say, it was a real pleasure writing to you, or I'm really happy writing to you. So you're not happy. So if you change your tone at the end of the letter, you drop significantly from, let's say, more than 7 maybe to less than 5 for task achievement. So because your tone is not consistent. Consistent means you have to start in the same way in the beginning, in the middle, to the end of the letter. You have to follow the same level of the tone. Also, the tone depends on who you are writing to. So if it is a formal letter, so that means your tone should be formal. And if it is to a friend or a colleague, so certain less formal expressions can be used. Okay. So we have here list of, let's say, expressions. Can show you if you look at these 2 boxes in here. So you can say request and suggestions and polite expressions. I highly recommend using the expressions used in these 2 boxes just to make it easier. So just try to see which ones are suitable for, let's say, a friend. For example, let's say if I say let's say dear Ahmed, for example, let's say if you I want to get no, so this is a bit formal. So request and suggestions. So if you say hi Ahmed, it's nice to hear from you again. So that's a polite and that's a friend. And if you want to be very formal, so you can use this, for example, here. I would recommend that you, or I would be grateful if. So using these expressions will help you for sure to use the right tone in here. Now, choosing the right language and expressions. So here, informal letters are often quite personal, while formal letters need to be more distant. So here, this is the final 2 tables. So the purpose, if it is formal, so we have these different types of letter writing. It's to apologize about something, asking for information, express the satisfaction or dissatisfaction, as maybe what happened with the your dissatisfaction with the camera you bought. Complain, if you remember the first letter, we talked about complaining about a car which has been dumped in your neighborhood. Thank somebody for something, maybe someone sent you a birthday party or a birthday gift, and then you are sending a thanking letter. Express sympathy, maybe a friend of yours has got sick or had an operation, so you are sending him your sympathy. And make suggestions, as I said, for recommendations or suggestions. So these expressions from 1 to 15 actually will help you a lot, and I highly recommend using them in your letters. And as you can see, they are fixed expressions, so you can use them for formal, informal. For example, I was so sorry to hear about, for example, your operation or your accident. So this is a friend. I would very much like to know. Here, this is a formal thing. So if you are asking for a piece of information. Okay, now we have some, let's say, some answers, and these answers, there's something happened to the tone in here, and I want you to have a look. Then we'll see what went wrong in here. Let's look at number A firstly. we have here a letter to Dear Jenny. It was absolutely fantastic to see you at the school reunion last week. So this is a greeting. This is the purpose of the letter. It's just to show that this person is very happy or was very happy to see his colleagues in the school reunion last week. You haven't changed a bit since we last met. I only have your old email address. So till now, till here, it is okay because he's talking informally, he's using informal language, and of course, he's very, very polite with his friend. Then, so kindly send me your contact details so that I can forward you the photographs I mentioned. What happened in here, this is called a change of the tone. So he changed the tone of his letter from informal, this is informal, to formal here. And that affects the consistency of tone, and they will lose maybe 1 band score for that. Now look at number B. Dear Mr. Parsons, how's it going? Still at the old school? I hope, because I need you to do something for me. I've been working in hospitality for the last 5 years as an apprentice chef, but now I've decided that I'd like to take up full-time study again. So I'd like you to be a referee for me. So this is a request letter, a request to have a reference. So asking for we say a formal letter for one of your we say formal teachers, or say for one of your previous teachers to be your referee. But what happened here to the tone? How is it going? So starting very informally, then still at the old school. I hope, because I need you to do something for me. So the purpose here is not very, let's say, appropriate, because he started informally. He should be formal. Dear Mr. Parsons, I hope that everything is well with you. It is nice to write to you again. So you have to be a bit formal. Then I've been working in hospitality for the last 5 years. So he should not use contractions. He should use full form. So he said, I have been. So I would like you to be a referee for me. So here he should use formal letters. So again, the problem is with the showing the formal, appropriate purpose plus tone. Number C. Dear sirs, I've received a reminder notice from your company saying I have not paid my phone bill and threatening to cut off the phone. So here, someone is writing a letter, a formal letter to a company, maybe to the power company, complaining about maybe the power off, or they cut his power off. I've received a reminder notice from your company saying I have not paid my phone bill and threatening to cut off the phone. So, sorry, not the power, it's the telephone company. So, yes, till now, the purpose is clear, and he started a very good start using formal, we say, expressions, and the tone is also appropriate, and the idea is clear. Then suddenly he changed. He said, you guys haven't got it wrong because I know I paid this bill. So the way this is improper, let's say, usage, you can't say in writing you guys. So you can say your office, your, let's say, officials, or the officials in the company. You can't say you guys have got it wrong because I know I paid. So you can use maybe indirect speech. It's worth mentioning, or it's well mentioned that I have already paid this bill. So yes, I enclose a copy of my credit card statement showing that the payment was made on 26th of February. So you guys in here, that takes a bit of the marks because the tone has changed, and of course we cannot use it in such situations. Let's move to the next one, which is part of an email. I'm really looking forward to our holiday together. I know we are going to have a great time. So it's someone is writing to his friend about a time that they are going to spend together. Thank you for your kindness in doing the organizing. Yours faithfully. Again, the tone has changed in here from informal to formal. You cannot change the tone. Thank you for your kindness in doing the organization. It was really nice from you to organize this issue, and let's say, I'm looking, let's say, for to have a great time with you soon. So here you can say thank you for your kindness. So this is not a person or someone who is, let's say, you should write formally too. Okay. Of course, we have different types of questions, and just I want to finish this class with this example. You have a friend who lives in a city overseas. You have decided you'd like to apply to do a course at one of the colleges in this city. Write a letter to your friend. In your letter, ask what the city is like, say what work or study you are doing now, and explain why you would like to do this course in the future. So as you can see here, it's a friend, and so you are giving some information. So the tone should be friendly, polite, and informal. Again, the 5 point, the purpose of the letter. Can you think about the purpose here? A friend of yours lives in a city overseas, and you wanted to, we say, apply to a course at one of the colleges in his city. So this is just, you are just asking or requesting or asking for some information about this issue. Then the tone should be friendly, the tone should be polite, the tone should show your happiness or your enthusiasm to that you are highly enthusiastic to visit such a city. Then you have to finish the other 3 points, what the city is like. So you can talk about accommodation, prices, for example, and then you can ask or tell him about the kind of work or study you are doing now. And also you should show him why you would like to do this course in the future. So the purpose for that. Now, we have here at the end, we have some kind of questions. And as I said, as I mentioned previously, this is one of the, this material is from a book called New Insight into IELTS. I have already uploaded to the cloud in my website, cloud, so you can download this book from the cloud. It's called New Insight into IELTS, a Cambridge book, and this will be highly beneficial for you. I hope you enjoyed the class today, and for any further questions, you could, let's say, give me a note or send me a message through the website. Thank you very much, and I hope you all the best in your exams. This is IELTS with شيبان.
مرحبا، كما مر عليكم في الفيديو اليوم Task 1 General اللي هو الامتحان العام للغة الإنجليزية Task 1 للآيلتس، وكما ركزت في الفيديو على النقاط الخمسة التي يجب أن يلتزم بها الطالب في حالة إجابة Task 1 للجنرال تريننج، اللي هي the focus or the purpose of the letter and the tone and the 3 bullet points اللي هي تأتي مصاحبة لهذا السؤال. أرجو أنه نفهم أنه الآيلتس ليس فقط تكنيكس، لكن سيتم المحاسبة على نوع الفوكابولري الكلمات أو اللغة أضف إلى مستوى الجرامر. أتمنى التوفيق للجميع، وملاحظاتكم بالخصوص ستكون سأجيب عليها إن شاء الله. إذا كانت يعني متخصصة كثيرا أو تحتاج إلى فيديو توضيحي آخر سوف نقوم بنشره لاحقا، وشكرا.